Welcome back to the WFT Declassified podcast, also known as the Commanders Declassified podcast. Don't you worry, we got you covered for all things Commanders. Please make sure that you are subscribed. Tell your friends to tell some friends. Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, whatever, wherever. We are there. Make sure you come check us out. All right, let's jump into this. We have something special for you tonight. You can call it a special feature if you want to. We are going to review the top 30 Commanders for 2022-2023. The NFL Network does something similar. They just don't do it as well. Eric, Brian, and I all got together, and we voted on the top 30 players for the 2022 season. We are going to give that list to you tonight. We are going to go 30 through 16. All right, you fellas ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's jump in right away. Number 30 is Cam Sims. And let's see, Brian, you had Cam Sims as your 24th best player. Why is that?
I think for what he's expected to do in his production, I don't expect him to be a number one wide receiver. I don't expect him to be a number two. I expect him to be a number 4 or number 5 wide receiver, play special teams. When he's called into the game, he makes some plays. He doesn't get called into the game that often, unfortunately, but when his number is called, he makes plays. So that's why I have him there. He is a reliable football player. Again, he's not a star player. He's not a number 1 or anything like that. No one's saying he is. But for what he is supposed to do, he produces at that level, which is special teams, 4th, 5th wide receiver.
I like it. Eric, you didn't have him ranked at all on your list. Talk to me.
I honestly forgot about it when I was making the list. He's in that range. I'm fine with 30. I don't know. 24 might be a little high. I probably, had I put, gone back over the list a few more times, I might have remembered him and put him above some of my lower 20s or upper 20s ranked players. He might have slid in there for me, but I'm not heartbroken about leaving him off. I don't hate him. I just, only 30.
Yeah, I had him at 29. And listen, as much as we appreciate Cam Sims, the coaches don't use him. And I've said this a number of times. And until they start using him, I can't rank him any higher because I'm just guessing they see something in practice that says to them, hey, we're not going to use him more than we already do. I think Brian, you hit it on the head. He does what he's asked to do. And, but he doesn't get more opportunities from that. So from a contribution perspective, I can't put him any higher. Number 29, Jamin Davis. He is our 29th ranked commander for the 2022-2023 season. Brian, he is not ranked at all on your list. Come on, man.
So I went by production from this past season, from the 2021 season. Now, when we're talking about potential, Jamin Davis has the potential to be an all-pro, perennial all-pro, be one of the best to ever do it. But he ain't done it yet. And I can't sit here and say he's one of the best players and he hasn't done anything yet. He had a very up and down, a little bit more down than up type of season in 2021. And based on that season, I can't say he's one of the best players. Do I think he will be? Yes, absolutely. The potential is there. We saw flashes, but we didn't see enough flashes. We didn't see enough production. So I couldn't put him on there because he was asked to be a starting Mike linebacker. He was asked to be an important player, and he certainly did not produce anywhere close to that. And that's not me hating. That was just the reality of the production he put out on the field, and it wasn't very good. I expect a much different set of production this coming season. But in terms of right now, based on that production, I couldn't put him on there.
You're hard on these guys, man. You're very hard on them.
National Football League is tough, man.
You're going to put Cam Sims 15 catches over Jamin Davis's 76 tackles, but okay.
It's based on what they're asked to do. Jamin Davis Cam Sims wasn't asked to be the starting middle linebacker for this defense and be a 17th pick or 19th pick. So there's different expectations there.
Okay, still hating. Eric, you had him 24th overall. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I feel like that even that's kind of I'll use the same argument Brian did as far as like what he accomplished on the field. Probably wasn't up to par with his draft pedigree, but again, rookie linebacker numbers last year were horribly skewed by how good Micah Parsons was. by normal rookie year linebacker standards, Jamin Davis was slightly above average. Probably he didn't have a horrible season. He definitely wasn't the impact player we had hoped for. But we already kind of knew that he wasn't going to be an immediate impact. Again, the dude started 11 games in college. The potential is there. 24 is where I had him, and I feel okay with that. I think he can go a lot higher than that if he can kind of tap into some of that potential. I think he can be one of the top 10, maybe top 5 players on the team. Or for what he did last year, where he's at right now. Before I saw him as a pro wrestler today, 24 is good.
I tell you what, I had him at 22, and I think we're overstating how poor his rookie season was. He made a tackle that saved that Raiders game for us. He had some really good tackles against Green Bay. Yes, he had some missed tackles. He had some moments where he was decent in coverage. I think towards the latter part of the season, he really, really improved. But there's still a long way to go. So I think, in that mid-20s range, I'm cool with that. I think that works. Our 28th ranked commander for the 2022-2023 season is none other than Joey Sly, the kicker, Joey Sly, who came on, was brought on later in the season last year. I think a lot of us thought he kicked really well. In terms of ranking, Brian, you have Joey Sly as the 20th best commander on the roster.
He came in 5 or 6 games into the year, and he kicked well. He did get hurt, went out for a few games, and then came back and then continued to kick well. We've had some kicker struggles, and for him to come into that situation, into a chaotic team at the time, he performed, and he did what he was supposed to do, which is kick the football and kick it through the uprights. So for what he was asked to do, I think he did really well at it.
Okay. Eric, you have him 29th.
Yeah, 29th is fair. We got a half a season basically out of him. He was injured for a good chunk of it. He kicked, he was perfect on his field goals. I think he missed an extra point, maybe 2. He already had a kick blocked. His kickoffs were solid, so no complaints there. He definitely was better than what we had to start the season, and what we had during the middle of the season for sure. So yeah, just for a half season's worth of work, pretty consistent. I'm fine with putting him low 20s. Anywhere in the 20s is fine for him.
Yeah, I had him 26th. I agree with both of you guys. I think mid-20s is where he belongs. I kind of split the difference there. I think that he can really, really be a big factor for us this year, especially with the kicking struggles we had early on last year that cost us games. Joey Sly is not going to cost you games, and I am all right with that. All right, let us move on. Our 27th ranked commander for 2022-2023. You ready for this? Jahan Dotson, the rookie wide receiver. Brian, you had him at 26?
Yeah. So he had a lot of production in college. It was not the NFL. So I can't say, we hope that he has the same production. I am all in on Jahan Dotson. I think he's going to be excellent this year. But again, that production was in college. So I weighted the NFL production a little bit more. So he's down at the bottom of the list only for that. I think he's going to be amazing, but I couldn't put him in front of guys who actually produced last year in the NFL. So that's why he's there.
Eric, you had Jahan Dotson number 23, just like I did. Why'd you have him at 23?
Yeah, I mean, I'm projecting that he's going to be a very good player in the league, but he hasn't done it yet. So 23 is fair enough for a first-round draft pick with his pedigree. Brian said it, the production in college is there. After seeing him at camp at OTAs, he did not disappoint. Nice. I think he's going to be the real deal. He's going to be a very productive player, and he will be higher on this list in future years.
Yep, totally agree with what you said. Our 26th ranked player for 2022-2023 is Taylor Heineke, the backup quarterback now in Washington. So taking a look at where we rank these guys, Brian, you had him at 23 for Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke, he was an undrafted free agent, came off the couch and helped us win games this year. Is he more than a backup quarterback? No, he's got a lot of issues to him, but the guy came in, provided a spark, was able to make some nice plays, and that's all you can ask of a backup. Like we know he wasn't the franchise, we know he wasn't the future, and for what he was able to do, I think that was pretty good. So 23, or what is he? 26, 27? Is that what we had him at?
We had him overall. Your selection was 23, but Heineke is our 26th best player on the team.
I think that's
For
good.
20. Yeah. Eric, you had Heineke at number 20, actually.
I did, and I don't feel bad about that at all. He, as a backup quarterback, he is going to be fantastic. And if a backup quarterback is the top half of your team, you're in pretty good shape. I thought he performed quite admirably last year. He did put up good numbers. He controlled the turnovers for the most part. He certainly has limitations as a player, but from what he did last year and what he's done, pretty much every chance he's gotten an opportunity to play, he has produced, and he has, made some mistakes, obviously, but he has exceeded expectations. And I think he is one of the top backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
I had him at 27. I'm not going to bash the kid. There's no point. It is Carson Wentz season. Just know I felt he was the 27th best ranked commander for 2022, 2023. He does have some importance to this offense. As Eric pointed out, if Wentz gets hurt, he's going to be highly valuable to us in the interim. So our 25th ranked player for the Commanders for 2022, 2023 is John Bates, the tight end. Brian, you had him all the way up at number 15.
Yeah, I think he is a starter in the NFL at the tight end position. I think he can block. I think he can catch. Is he a guy, again, we talked about it before. Is he a guy that's going to run away from you? No, but I think he has excellent hands, and I think that he is still growing. He's an ascending player, and he just needs more reps. So with Logan Thomas maybe out of the way here for to start the season, I expect big things. So that's why I had him up there, because I think there was such a big improvement from San Diego Chargers to the 17th game for John Bates last year. He really showed very nicely.
Eric, you have him as 27.
I thought I had him at 26, 27. Either way, it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's going to be higher this year. He's ascending. He was, for the most part, a backup. He saw limited action last year. I have no reservations about even where Brian put him. But there's a lot of good players, surprisingly, that we could put ahead of him on this team. So I'm fine with where he's at, but he's ascending. He'll be much better next year and much better.
He had a lot of opportunity last year, and I think he did okay with it. I think you still want more explosion, but he's not going to give that to you. But he's an integral part of what this team's going to do, especially early on with Logan Thomas still on the mend. So I had him in as number 28, actually. He's my 28th best commander for the season. All right. Moving down the line, 24 was Trey Turner, the newly signed guard. Yes, he used to play in Carolina. We saw Trey Turner at OTA. I keep wanting to call it camp, but he was out there, looked pretty strong. Brian, you had him at 22. Why is that?
His production, he is a starting NFL guard. I mean, there's no two ways about it. He's been a starter for a very long time. He started the previous season, 2021, 2020. He is going to come in and start day one. It's an offense that he knows in terms of offensive line coach John Matsko and how the offense is going to block all that scheme. He knows it already. So he's got a long history of production. He's still young enough that there is more production to be had out of him. So that's why I had him there.
I like it. Eric, you had him at 26th overall.
Yeah. He's been a starter for a long time. I just feel like maybe he's in a little bit of decline. He's in the later stages of his career, and I haven't seen enough of him in recent years, honestly, to gauge or to really feel good about him being higher. I don't think he's our best offensive lineman. I think, I don't know that he's a day one starter. I think Wes Schweitzer still has a good shot at getting in, but we shall see. So yeah, 26, just based on, I think he's probably seen his peak in the NFL.
Yeah, I got him at 20. I think he's an every down player for us, and therefore should be rated, appropriately. He was running with the ones today when we saw him. There has been some talk about Schweitzer actually moving to center at some point. But I look, offensive linemen are important. And one of the big reasons this team was even decent last year was because of the offensive line and their rating. We lost Sheriff, so I know we got Noel to but I think he's going to be an important part of what we do this year. So I had him as my number 20th overall ranked player. 23, Curtis Samuel. Okay, so look, nobody get mad at Brian, but Brian did not have Curtis Samuel ranked for 2022, 2023. Brian, you got it.
Bring it. So I don't have Curtis Samuel ranked on here. He did not produce. When Curtis Samuel was signed, what did we hear? He's some kind of difference maker. He's going to get on the field and the sea is going to part. Defenses will fall down in front of him and he is going to be scoring touchdowns left and right. And all that happened is what? We got 15 snaps out of him? Maybe 2 catches, 1 run. I don't know. Wide receiver screen or reverse. Like there was no production, and it's not his fault, right? Like he got an injury, it got worse. I get that, but there was still no production. I can't say that you're one of the best players on the team and you don't produce. So I couldn't put him as one of the better players on there, and he's got no production to show for it. Literally no production. So that's why he's not ranked.
Except that he has an NFL career behind him as well that we've seen.
That wasn't even in a Commander's uniform. For me, I don't care what you did on another team. If you don't do it for me, then I don't realize any of that benefit. I don't realize any of that production.
He got production down the field.
Yeah.
In which uniform?
It was 2020? It's close enough. I remember it. He's healthy. He's going to be a difference maker. I believe everything that I was told about him. He's fantastic. I didn't have him super high on my list.
You had him 17, and I had him 18.
Yeah, 17, 18. Yeah. So, based on the lack of production last year because of the injury, but man, that dude is so good. He's my favorite free agent addition under the Ron Rivera era thus far, even though he didn't work out last year. It's going to change this year. He's going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is all about projection. I think you can't expect him to be out, like he was all of last year again this year. And I think, that dude has some stats and some film to back up what he is and what he can be. It's been a little frustrating so far. So I get where you're coming from, Brian. But, man, hold on, because it's going to get a lot better. Speaking of better, at number 22 is Bobby McCain for the 2022 season. Bobby
you guys
McCain
are going to have to explain yourself on this.
All right. So, Brian, you had him at 30 overall.
That's correct.
Which is shocking that he was even ranked on your board.
Look, you can't say I'm not fair. Bobby McCain is ranked on this list.
I don't think you have him top 90, honestly.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle to get him at 30, but his play, while bad to start the season, and it was bad. I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't. It was bad. It did improve to average. That made something. He was able to produce. He was able to get some interceptions and be a productive player. And he was a starter for all 17 games. So that's the best I can say about Bobby McCain. So he's number 30 for me.
Eric, you had him at 19.
Yeah, he improved. He was actually even better than average last year. He was pretty good towards the end of last year. He definitely struggled before the bye week. He got much better. There was the blown coverages disappeared completely or nearly completely. He was much, much better down the stretch, and I think he's going to ascend. I think now with an extra year in the defense, he's going to be a lot better.
You hit it, man.
19 might be a little high for him. I'm okay with where he's at.
I had him at 17, actually, and I think, he's important to the defense, man. Our corners were not locked down last year. I think he helped out a lot. Did he hurt us at times? Yes, but so did the entire defense. So you're really grading them on a scale. I thought he was very productive. And do I want him here for the next 10 years? No. Are we looking for an upgrade, or would I want them to look for an upgrade? Yes. But again, you said it, Brian. What was he asked to do? I thought he did his job. I thought he did a good job at doing his job. So I got Bobby McCain at 17, but with Brian's downvote, he's our 22nd overall player. Number 21 is Cornelius Lucas, the offensive tackle. He is our 21st best player. Brian, you had him at 19.
Yeah, he is. I think he's one of the better swing tackles in the NFL. He can start at either left or right tackle at a moment's notice and give you valuable production. There's not a noticeable drop off. Is there a drop off from the starters? Absolutely. There always is when you go to a backup, but it's not noticeable. It's not as if we were all of a sudden just getting sacks on his side of the field when he replaced Sam Cosmi or anything like that. And he was even better, I think, the year before 2020 when he had to play left tackle as well for, I think, like 8 games or something like that. I think he was really good there. I think he may be a little bit better on the left than he is on the right side, but I think he's valuable and I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, Eric had him at 21. I had him at 24. So we were all in the general range there with Lucas. Any other thoughts on Lucas, Eric?
Yeah, he's good at his job, and that's what matters.
Absolutely. Number 20, the rookie, Samuel Cosmi, was our 20th highest ranked Commander player for the 2022-2023 season. Brian, you had him ranked the highest at 17. Care to explain?
Yeah, I mean, he started at right tackle, and not only did he start, he played well. Now, his big problem was staying healthy. He did not make it through an entire season and only played, I think, 9 games, maybe 8 or 9 games. So that's got to drastically improve. But when he was in those games, he was knocking people out. He was opening up very big holes for the running backs to run through. So he was exceptional, and he's ascending. He's going to get a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and a lot better. So I think he's really good.
Yeah. Eric, you had him at 22, and I had him at 25. What are your thoughts on Cosmi, Eric?
Yeah, I had him and Cornelius Lucas right together because they were basically made one complete right tackle last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with Brian. I mean, he was good when he was healthy. It's just he's got to stay healthy, and he doesn't have the NFL pedigree for me to rank him a little higher, unlike Curtis Samuel did. So I'm fine with 22. Anywhere in that range is good.
Yeah. Solid contributor. Didn't play a lot. Expect better from him this year. I'm with it. Number 19, Wes Schweitzer is our 19th ranked commander for 2022-2023. In terms of rankings, you could tell Brian likes offensive linemen. Brian had him at number 13 overall.
I do love me some offensive linemen, and Wes Schweitzer is no different. Wes Schweitzer came off the bench this year and played center, and he hadn't played center in 2 years, and he was excellent at it until he got hurt. He can start at guard, either guard spot. Potentially may start at guard this year. We'll see how training camp goes. But he was a valuable utility man along that offensive line, and that I mean, he produced for us. So that's why I had him as high as I did.
Okay. Eric, you had Schweitzer at 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had him similar to Cosmi and Lucas. I had him and Trey Turner right together because I think they're going to battle for that job at guard, and may the best man win. But I put them together based on that. I think Schweitzer's a very solid player.
Yep, he's 25 on my list, or excuse me, 21 on my list. He's one of our 22 best players. That simple. He's a starter, in my opinion, in terms of talent level. And I think he did some good things last year. We'll see about that Trey Turner battle and how that works out. But very solid player for us. Number 18, Andrew Noel, who we signed from Jacksonville, is our number 18th best player this year. Let's see where we all had him ranked. Brian, you had him at 21, and he's a lineman.
He is. He's a little bit older, but he is a quality starter. He's a guy who started his entire career, started last year in Jacksonville. He knows the system. He has production, former Pro Bowler. I expect him to come in here and start and not miss a beat. But again, he is older. There has been some decline with him. So I think that kind of drops him down a little bit, but solid guy.
Eric had him ranked all the way up at number 11.
I did.
Ooh.
Yeah, Norwell. I think
I like it.
He's a very smart guard. He's a technician at his position. He's as good a replacement for Sheriff as you're going to find. So I am excited about him. Actually, I know he is a little bit older, but I think he's the type of player that can actually play for a long time, barring like catastrophic injury, just because he's such a technician at the guard position. He can really do a good job. I'm really impressed with him, and I think he's a really good addition.
Yeah, I had him at 19. He's solid. Very, very tenured, but he's got some time ahead of him. He'll definitely be able to help us out this year. And he seems like a really good dude. So our 18th ranked player was Andrew Norwell. Number 17, William Jackson the third, the DB that we signed last off season. By all accounts, I think he had up and down first season with us, adjusting to playing in our schemes. William Jackson the third. Brian and Eric, you both had him at number 18.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's about right for how he played this year. He started out a little rocky, even though he did produce. He got a couple of interceptions before it was all over. But as he started to learn the scheme, he got better. But again, why do you sign a man corner and then make him play zone? Maybe we'll adjust to him next year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Scheme fit was a little he struggled, I think, probably early on to figure out what to do on defense. It was completely different than anything he'd done. He did as well as you could expect before being injured, and I think he'll improve this year.
Yeah. And, look, I have him at 15 overall, and I think you can't expect him to struggle as much as he did last year. This year, he's going to be more familiar. He's going to be another year deeper into the defense. And so I think he'll be able to produce quite nicely for us. So he is my 15th ranked player, but he is number 17 overall in our list. And our last player for this part of this, and make sure you guys tune in the next time we drop this, because we'll go 15 all the way down to 1. But our 16th highest ranked commander player for 2022-2023 is Charles Leno Jr. There's a whole lot of offensive linemen in our 30 through 16. I'll tell you what, Charles Leno Jr. just signed a contract extension with us. He is number 12 in Brian's rankings. Brian, I know what it is. You love linemen, but any other reason?
Yeah, so I think Leno started out the year, like the first 3 games, he was a little shaky. I think there were some a couple sacks he gave up, but after that he settled down and he played really, really well. And as a left tackle, that's one of the more important positions along the offensive line, is to keep that quarterback's blind side safe, and he did just that. So I think first year of the system, he put together a really, really nice season, and I expect him to do the same next year.
All right, Eric, we both had him ranked 16. Give me your thoughts on Charles Leno Jr.
Yeah, we're right. 16, right about where he's at. Yeah, Brian hit it. He started off a little shaky. I was a little bit down on him early in the season last year, but he improved tremendously. He was probably our best offensive lineman by the end of the season. Look for that to continue. He's a really good player now that he's got some scheme familiarity. I think he'll do well this year.
Yep. Can't argue with that. He's solid, and he's in the middle of the pack of our rankings this year for our top 30. That's it, folks. Make sure, like I said before, you're subscribed, you're locked in, because we're going to drop our second episode, which will contain 15 through 1 next week. You're not going to want to miss it. You really want to think about the names that you haven't heard so far, because your favorite players are still there on the board, and you're going to really want to know who's number 1 in our list. We'll check you next time, folks.